There's a funny story about being at that game. You had an encounter with an old lady. That year we went to Nashville. We were getting ready to go to the Nashville Predators game.
Yep.
And Johnny's wearing a Suter jersey. And
On purpose, I might add.
Yep. And we had just picked up Suter. Predators fans were bitter.
Understatement. Yeah, the aforementioned bitterness of the Suter sweater, Bridgestone Arena.
Yeah.
And we're standing in the concourse waiting to get a beer. People kind of start chanting Suter. She had been 75 pushing 80, but she was just fit and hyper as a teenager.
Yeah, I thought I had heard she was like poking you in the chest or something.
Oh, yeah. Is it 70% of the times all the statistics are correct?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Mm-hmm. 70% all the time.
Yeah, 70% all the time.
60% of the time it works every time.
Yeah.
All right, Ron Burgundy.
All right, everybody, welcome to The Range. I'm Ricky Bruley, and joining me on this epic journey is Hollywood. Tagging along is our special guest, Olympic gold medalist, and our director of operations, John Betker. How are you guys?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
I'm awesome.
Doing wonderful.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just got off the range.
Nice.
Shooting well.
How
yeah,
well?
I saw that. You shot a nice score yesterday.
Yeah. Well, did you say how well?
Yeah.
Well, I never miss. So.
Yeah.
No, it's a 300, 56X. So
Nice.
that's awesome. The 4 ran away from me. So
That's why we got you here, because I can't do that.
Not me.
way.
No way.
we're trying.
Right? Well, hey, thank you all for joining us for episode 3 titled No Plan is the Plan. The last 2 episodes were heavily scripted, so I wanted to take some time to simply just BS for a little bit and just kind of see where it goes. Again, just want to start off by giving a huge thanks to everyone who is currently listening. The feedback has been amazing. And I do, even though the plan is no plan, I do have a couple of topics in mind just to get the gears turning. And the main topic of discussion will be around turkey hunting today, since by the time this airs, turkey season will pretty much be done, but we just want to...
For some of it is done.
Right, yeah. I mean, gripe and complain and whine and cheer and all that kind of stuff that turkey hunting does for you.
What?
That'd be you.
What am I doing? Big old cut
That
there.
part where it says Hollywood in bold.
We're already there?
Yep.
My goodness.
Sorry, I was whipping, man.
Yeah.
I know. And
I'm like, all right, we're through the first bullet point.
I kind of noticed as I was going to, I'm like, man, I'm going really fast. But
So the plan of no plan is executing
Yeah,
excellently
it's
at
going
this
really
point.
So after a huge cut, so part of the reason why we have Johnny here is because he's part of the team that paved the way as how we effectively bow hunt turkeys these days. And you love it.
Yep.
And I'll let him tell all that story right there. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing well, buddy. How are you?
You know how I'm doing.
Exactly.
I do
how
not
you're
have a
doing.
bird, for those that are wondering, and he does. So.
Hey, I give you an A for effort, though. You're putting it in. You know, you're
Yeah.
getting out there early in the morning. Them 4 a.m. wake-up calls are brutal.
Yeah.
First day or two, not too bad. Day like 17, that's a grind.
I think I'm about there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, today I actually took a day off, so I look nice and pretty for the podcast today. So,
shaved up all clean.
yeah, I did
Dang,
shave.
son.
Back to your 16-year-old face.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, but you're right. Yeah, 3:30, like depending on how far you have to drive. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it's getting to be taxing.
I've always loved those 10 to 2 birds.
Yeah, nice sleep in session. And
Yep.
Get up, go kill, and well, even like you said, early in the morning or early in the season, the sun's not getting up that early.
No.
So you can kind of sleep in, so to speak.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's up at 5 a.m. You're ready to shoot. It's like,
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's getting tougher. So
It is. Birds are moving good, though, right now. So a lot of guys are having luck. A lot of guys are already tagged out. Even the guys like you that haven't had a bird go down yet, you've had opportunity. You've seen birds. You've seen them moving around. So, but you're also doing the public land thing, which, again, I applaud you for because that's a tough hunt. But, public land, it gets real tough to really zone in on them birds. Anybody comes out there and bumps them in the morning, bumps them off the roost, chases them around midday. Who knows? I mean, the one guy came in and sit behind you that kind of boogered up that one hunt.
Just gonna mention that one. Yeah, I've had exactly that.
Yeah,
walks in at 6. The sun's already been up for an hour, buddy.
Yep.
Ruined that Tom was destined to come in and didn't come in.
That's super frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
It's been a headache and a half. So yeah, and I mean, I've been driving lots of miles, putting in the scouting and everything, and just like Johnny said, all public land. I have a couple of opportunities now with private land, but I'm just going the tougher way about it. But yeah, it's a tough battle. It's really tough.
So we got a few weeks left. I might try to see if I can get out again, but I don't know. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. By the time this airs, I might have the bird on the ground. Who knows?
Yeah, I might have a spot.
Oh,
if I had a shotgun, I could kill a lot of birds right now.
Yeah,
but.
Yeah. There's a few spots I could go. I suppose I've got some opportunities, but who knows? We'll see how that goes. I still don't want to bring a bow out. Really, I just want to bring a gun.
Come on, man!
I just want to bring a gun and just get it done.
Shoot him in the face and be done with it.
It's still hard. The 2 days that I spent out there, man, it couldn't.
You went on terrible days, man.
Oh, it was horrible.
It was bad.
Rained constantly. It was cold. We were flipping coins all day long. That was pretty much it. And I hunting with my good buddy Travis, and between him and I, we have such a difficult time, like just making a decision. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh man, well, we could do this, we could do that. We spent half our day trying to figure out what we could do
instead of committing.
But the awesome thing is like, so of course I leave, or I'm done with the hunt, right? And Travis stays one more day and kills his bird that next morning, which was super awesome. I was just bummed out that I didn't get to be there for it. Right. He actually, it actually ended up being like a stock that he put on the bird. And I haven't got the details from him yet. He did say it wasn't pretty, but he got it done. So
I was gonna say, a dead bird is a dead bird, man.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how it went.
Right. But so Johnny, I don't want to get too much into detail about what Hollywood alluded to earlier, because I think we need to save that for another episode. But maybe just kind of elaborate a little bit on what that means. What team was it that you were a part of that kind of paved the way for turkey hunting as we know it with a bow?
Well, the crash course of my path that led me here, the stepping stone that started it all for me was I had the great privilege of being part of the original double bull archery team. And anybody familiar with turkeys and ground blinds, even the younger generation, you've had to have been exposed at this point to who double bull is and what they did and what they were all about. And it was an absolute joy. It's one of those career-making moments, life-making moments that I'll never be able to repeat, regardless of how great Vapor Trail is. We have a very similar setup here as far as the energy, the excitement, the innovation, and everything that we're trying to do to build our brand and grow our company. There are many, many, many similarities, but double bull archery was kind of lightning in a bottle. They caught it perfectly. They timed it perfectly. Almost everything we did, it just seemed to work. I mean, it was almost too easy. I hate to say it that way. Mm-hmm. And again, it was just an absolute boatload of fun. And, one of the perks of the job is, hey, do you want to, go kill a turkey? It's like, well, yes, I do.
Many.
So there were a lot of times we'd, unfortunately, a lot of people think that when you're in the hunting industry or the archery industry, they seem to get this perception that, oh, you're in the archery industry, you must hunt all the time. Well, here's a little dirty secret about that is if you're actually successful with what you do within this industry, your hunting time is greatly limited. So there were many, many, many times that we would be building blinds up to 6, 7, 8 o'clock p.m. on a Friday night where 4 of us would jump into 2 different loaded down pickup trucks with blinds, food, everything else, and we drive 6-8 hours into somewhere in the northeast Nebraska where we would basically end up at the parking lot at sunup so that we then could go out into the field, get the blind set up, turkey hunt all weekend, and then we'd usually put the birds to bed on Sunday night, jump back in the truck, haul butt all the way home so that we got back to the factory where we'd go directly to the factory and literally just the shells of the blinds with no rods in them, we'd basically fall down in them and take a 2-hour nap before we had to get back up and go to work that morning.
Gosh.
You know, which I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was a blast. If I was 30 years younger, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I think if I tried that now, I'd probably die before I even got to Nebraska, much less getting back. But
Right.
yeah, Double Bull is an absolute blast. I can't say how much fun that was, and that was the stepping stone for me to get to where I am now. Why I do what I do now.
Right.
You know, brief little pit stops along the way when Double Bull was bought out and acquired by Primos. I did have the luxury of going along for that ride, so to say, where I did work with the guys at Primos for a couple years as a regional sales manager. Can't say enough about Will. Jimmy, that's a little bit different, but that's a story between him and I. And if he ever hears this, I hope you still have that bobblehead of me.
See, Johnny's got a bobblehead. I didn't even know that. That's amazing.
I do. It's on Jimmy Primos's desk. At least it used to be, whether or not it is still now.
That's what happens when you're an Olympic gold medalist.
Yes, exactly. That was during my trial runs there, so yeah. So, and then I voluntarily left Primos a couple years into it, where I then went over to Magnus Broadheads and assumed the vice president position over at Magnus Broadheads, working with Mike Somm.
Yeah.
Great product, great brand. That brand does really well in our pro shop as well. I've always been a big believer of them, even before I went to that brand, as far as being employed by them. So I can't say enough good things about Mike and Magnus. And then one thing led to another, just a bizarre set of, circumstances and relationships, as we all know at this table within the industry. I'd been friends with Steve and Jared for many, many years. In fact, I actually heard Steve reference on his podcast what I've told you guys before, that when they were still a fledgling company, that Double Bull had basically hijacked them into the ATA show underneath their badges. That was actually me who hijacked their badges for them so they could get in. But with that, after a little bit of communication and conversation and the growth that Vapor Trail was seeing at that time, they extended the opportunity for me to come on as the sales director, which I jumped at in a heartbeat. So came on there, and that was 7 years ago now. Yeah, 7 years ago now. So, and that's been a blast. All the things that have happened in that time period, all the changes of the company, changing the personnel. Ears, loved working with Ears, wish he was still here.
Yeah.
Glad he's doing phenomenally well. Love the fact that he's happy, healthy, great family, cute little kid, bunch of dogs. But it'd still be fun to have him around just so I can zap him with the rubber band. So, and then obviously the departure of Steve and the introduction of Rory. Obviously, we know what kind of whirlwind that's been over the last several years. All of it good, but definitely one of those things that every day you wake up and go, so what's it gonna be today?
It's like when are we gonna have a second to breathe? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Never.
What
I've come to that
company did you
conclusion.
find today?
Yep. Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So all I got to say to that is lightsaber. So all right.
Yeah.
But and then it was probably, I don't even honestly remember. I think it's about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. It was right after Years left. Is the decision was finally made to go from sales director to director of operations. And of course, I was right in the peak of COVID and the pandemic and all the issues of, just the flow of business and pipeline issues and everything else that went on during that time period. So that was definitely an interesting time to suddenly be responsible for all of that.
Right.
But we got through that pretty well, though. And then, of course, obviously the transition over to the new building, which I know you guys discussed at length in prior podcasts, so I won't dwell on that too much. But, so now here we sit in, the Taj Mahal doing a podcast. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and I'm glad we finally get you on too.
Yeah.
I kind of want to just backpedal a little bit because I didn't know you really well before you started with Vapor Trail, and even to this day, like I still don't feel like I know you well enough. It's like, man, we don't go out and have enough beers, right? But I remember, like at ATA shows and stuff like that, you were always just like, "Hey, what's up, man?" Just like really invested, like wanting to know what's going on. And I'm just like, "Oh, this is kind of, man, I don't really know this guy very well, but all right, let's go." Just conversations with you were always awesome. And then that year we went to Nashville, and and we went out one night to have some drinks, and Johnny comes rolling in, and you're wearing a and this is for you, Brian Fortenbaugh. Johnny comes in wearing his Wild sweater and Wild stocking cap with a little ball on the top.
Yep.
I'll never forget that, and we're just sitting there talking and stuff because we were getting ready to go to the Nashville Predators game.
Yep.
And I can't remember. You probably remember who they were playing. It wasn't the Wild.
No, it was the Anaheim Ducks.
Anaheim
I believe.
Ducks.
Yep.
Yeah, and Johnny's wearing a Suitor jersey. And we
On purpose, I might add.
Yep, and we had just picked up Suitor, so Predators fans were bitter.
Understatement. Yeah.
I mean, and for all the years that we played him, every time Suitor had the puck, they would boo him.
Oh yeah, every time.
If we were in Nashville.
Yeah. Kind of funny now that when he plays for Dallas and comes to the Wild, we all boo him.
Right? I know that poor
Weird
guy.
how that works out, but go on.
Poor guy, he's probably just one of the nicest guys too, except his acting is really bad, like those commercials.
The
that he
air
would do
conditioner commercials?
No, it wasn't. That was
Jared Spurgeon.
That was Spurgeon.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that's
But
right.
he
Just as
did.
bad.
He did Quick Trip commercials.
Yes.
And I was like, boy, he's, he Wisconsin farmer, right? Not an actor.
No, not
But,
at all.
Hey, you got to do your PR
Yeah.
stuff, right? Anyway, so there's a funny story about being at that game. You had an encounter with an old lady. Spring is here and turkey hunting is in full swing. Successfully killing a turkey with a bow is extremely challenging, so after you notch that tag, be sure to give your bow some love by installing a brand new set of Vapor Trail VTX bowstrings. Our proprietary VTX material with sci-fi technology, set it and forget it, is proven to hold up better in varying weather conditions, includes a lifetime service guarantee against manufacturer defects, and are available in thousands of color combinations to match your custom archery setup. With our 3-day ship guarantee, you can be back up and running in no time flat. Contact your local dealer or give us a call at 888-BOWSTRING. That's 888-BWSTRNG. Quit your crying and have confidence in your equipment with Vapor Trail VTX bowstrings.
So the aforementioned bitterness of the Suitor sweater. Yeah, so we're standing in, Bridgestone Arena.
Yeah.
And we're standing in the concourse waiting to get a beer. And I'm with 3 really good buddies, Brian Fortenbaugh that you already mentioned, another good friend of mine, Bob Humphreys, and then a really good friend of mine, Dave Deming. And, of course, those guys will prod anything along if it humors them.
Of course.
So, of course, people kind of start chanting Suitor. That's kind of their negative chant for him.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I say this respectfully, but this granny, she had been 75 pushing 80, but she was just fit and hyper as a teenager. And she wanted to get into it with me over Suitor. And I mean, get into it with me, like, physically. Like, she was ready to take me down. And basically, if you remember, like, high school fights, how people all of a sudden kind of get a little chippy with each other, and all of a sudden the magic circle opens up, and here you go. Well, the next thing I know, I'm in this circle with this granny chewing my butt about wearing a Suitor jersey. And, of course, I got Brian, Dave, and Bob behind me egging her on, going, yeah, we told them not to wear that. I'm like, come on, guys. So Of course, obviously nothing happened, and I walked away unscathed, but there was a mini riot going on there for a minute that I thought was going to end badly for me. So,
Yeah, I thought I had heard she was like poking you in the chest or something.
well, yeah.
She's
Yes.
doing, like those points. And
Oh, yeah. I
stabs.
can't believe you'd wear that here. I'm like, where am I going? Come on.
Yeah. Why not?
Obviously, you don't know Johnny.
Yeah, exactly. Poke the bear. Poke the bear.
Yeah.
So, well, that was the same game that we were sitting. I mean, I knew you guys were there, I think, because I think Steve had said something to me. So I knew there was going to be guys from Vapor Trail there. And how they show people up on the screen.
The Jumbotron.
Yeah, and the Jumbotron during intermissions and timeouts and stuff like that. Sitting there minding my own beeswax, and all of a sudden I look up on the screen, and there's Steve on the screen. So I texted him and like, wow, you look fat on TV. And he's like looking around, and they kept on going back to you guys. I think you got flashed up there a couple times.
They got us twice, and it was, if I remember, it was me and Steve, and I'm pretty sure Greg Bratner.
Yes.
And I think one other person, if I remember, because we were up there for, because BCY does a party for all of the string manufacturers every year, and that's what they did that year. So we were in we had like a suite where they had hot dogs and all kinds of food. It was so cool.
Yep.
But yeah, they came up to it. They came to us twice. When they came back the second time, then we all were like pulling up our shirts so that we could show off the Vapor Trail logo, just to try to promote a little bit.
Yep.
But, yeah, we were pretty wild up there, so they apparently wanted to get the camera on us.
Yeah.
It was wild that you saw that too.
Out of the blue, I was like, that looks like Vapor Trail. So,
Yeah, I'll be honest. Other than that and eating hot dogs, I don't remember much of that game. Whoopsie. Yeah. We were a little tore up.
I waited till at least after the game until things got fuzzy, which good thing, or I probably would have punched a granny. So,
I was just thinking, you said 7 years that you've been with Vapor Trail now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I think I'm 1 day or 3 days out from 10 years.
Yeah.
yeah, because you were
To the
before
day.
me.
Yeah. Like 10 years being around. I mean, I had like a couple breaks here and there during college and whatnot. But I just realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're already to May. Because we were all just joking about it like a couple of months ago. We're like, no way. I found this email from Rick like when I was hired.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He sent it to me. I
Little
was
mini
like,
Hollywood,
Yep.
2013. I'm like, oh my God.
Yep.
Wow. Maybe it was yesterday.
just got your first email account.
Yeah, probably. It's probably like the first few.
Was it an AOL account?
I might be a little young for that. Just missed it.
Using the Netscape browser.
Sponge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, we are dating ourselves big time here, Johnny.
Trying to think of what I would have emailed you over. Maybe a regular desktop computer, but I'm sure it wasn't fancy.
I'm guessing not.
Probably from a school computer, like
Yeah.
one of the old colorful iMacs. Or gosh, that's probably before your time even.
No, we still had some at our school. They were pretty badass.
Apple IIe.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
First computer I ever used, baby.
Wow.
That was that with double bowl?
No.
Okay.
No, that was high school. That was ages ago. So,
Sorry. Oh, we can circle back to this turkey hunting stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
I
it's
didn't mean
good.
to. I didn't mean to divert to talk about my tenure here.
This is good. We just need to make sure that we get you talking some more because we've come to find out that you have quite a few fans. There was some people that were upset that you didn't get enough time.
Me?
Yeah. So you clearly you have
I
more
like keeping
than
record number lows.
my
Low.
my job here today is to get you to yak.
Yeah, well, which type?
You might have more fans than I do. I've got like 12, so I don't know. You might have
Who knows?
a couple dozen. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, we'll see kind of how it goes. But so going back to the turkey hunt, like you were saying, tell us your journey so far this year with turkey hunting, how that's been going for you.
There's not much of a journey. It just ends at bird watcher.
There you go.
It's right there.
Is it actual birds you're watching or just decoys?
No, there's some birds. I'm trying to think. I think Monday. So I don't work Mondays. I think that was the first day I've seen no birds because I tried doing the 10 to 2 hunt. Boy, that was that was a waste of my time.
Really?
And I slept really well, and I had 3 deer come running right up to me, and I was like,
Of course.
why? Yeah, of course. Wrong season. But yeah, it's for me, it's been very active. But man, just birds have been so henned up, and if they're henned up, it's like yesterday when I went out, I was texting you. You know, it's like there's one hen.
Yeah.
Like just break free, and I have 3 toms on me. But no, they're gonna sit on private property, 50 yards away, fanned up, just showing off. It's like, then they turn and walk the other way. It's like, God dang, man.
For the pea-sized brain that they have, they're actually not that stupid.
They are the smartest, dumbest bird.
If they could smell, you'd never see a turkey. Ever.
Yeah. No. Oh, I know it'd be terrible. Yeah, because I mean, I can actually shower before I go out there. So, it's crazy. Yeah, and I mean, I'm still rocking. This year, I'm running the Black Hornets for my broadheads. Johnny got me on the Magnus. I for all of you that are listening, I mean, I've only turkey hunted like hardcore for like 3 years now, because I've always been like, whatever, it's just a stupid bird. 3 years ago, got nothing. Last year, got my first, and then that's when I was like talking to Johnny about Magnus. He's like, you can't be shooting anything else, only Magnus. So I shot one with a bullhead, or not bullhead, buzzcut, Stinger buzzcut. Awesome blade. This year I'm just trying the Black Hornet because that thing has to be awesome. It's just I have not shot anything with it, so trying that. And were you guys the first with like the bullhead style? Since I accidentally said that.
Well, no. I mean, they're
There's
the most
others out there.
predominant one right now, but there are others. The guillotine,
was
what was
the
it?
first
Aerodynamics was, I believe they were the first one. But the bullhead was very, very closely behind.
Yeah.
So, and as far as that category, that type of head, now granted, I admit wholeheartedly I'm biased in that, but they're the ones that have stuck around the longest, been the most durable and the most reliable. There's been others that have come and gone, but bullheads have been there since they've come out. They've just maintained.
Yeah,
So, and they are fun. I mean, once you finally get a little more confidence and, feel like taking a not necessarily a trick shot, but a different shot, it is fun. I mean, I've done it twice. Those are the ones that I was successful with. I won't give you the body count on how many I was unsuccessful with. But they're a lot of fun.
Now, with those, are you running a different arrow setup completely? Because I see like some guys are running like a flu, I guess.
Yeah, it's totally different arrow. Well, you put the strings on my bow. You saw my arrows because you paper tuned mine. That's a bullhead arrow.
Oh, okay.
It's a full length Victory. With 4-inch feathers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you're just
So,
going for
free
stabilization.
Yep.
And don't cut my flipping fingers off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you bring up a point. That's you want to make sure that arrow and that bullhead's out there far enough, because a lot of guys will do that pointer finger stuff like that.
Yeah.
We used to get plenty of pictures of a guy that would just slice right down as the shot, where
Yikes.
it's like, yeah, okay, just make it so I can't do that.
Have you guys seen that video of Belmar going around? As much as I care not to reference
I don't
him.
want to talk about him,
Yeah.
Okay.
to be honest.
There's some really good videos of heads cutting in half.
Yeah.
By those types of broadheads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing though, but it's pretty gruesome. Maybe one of you guys have said it. Like some guys don't like using it because it doesn't make for a pretty picture. I mean,
It doesn't.
depends on
but
what you're going for. I feel like that's a social media guy that's going to be talking more on that aspect of.
Right. If you're going for a quick, clean, ethical kill that has pretty much absolutely no recovery to it whatsoever, other than walking out to your decoys to pick them up, then honestly, if you execute the shot, there is not a better place to shoot a turkey.
100%.
But if you're going for the nice, pretty trophy glamour shot afterwards, trying to piece back a head that's been split in 4 different parts and the wattle's all torn up and the neck's all torn up. That's where Rick comes in with Adobe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Exactly. The argument is it's about as quick a clean a kill you can get.
Right.
And for whatever reason, it's really like incredible to see and look at. I don't know if it sounds weird, but it just is. I just don't. I have concerns about whether that's going to, turn off certain people, right?
Yeah.
And again, if it turns them off, maybe they're not the people you want, I guess. But at the same time, you know, I always just want to advocate for hunting as much as I possibly can. So I'll avoid showing that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Trying to avoid the gruesome stuff for sure.
I mean, it's, you know, it's one thing to have, you know, a decap shot where it's like you just see the head fall off and the turkey falls over and dies. You know what I mean? Some of them where it's like their head is getting split into 4 pieces. It's whoa.
Pretty wild.
And for sure, you're going to get all kinds of attention for that.
Oh, no doubt.
And, you know, whether that's good attention or not, I don't know. But there, effectiveness, absolutely, 100%. It's the way to go. That's how I've killed both my birds with a bow.
Really?
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I've only killed 2 with a bow, which is to what Johnny was saying earlier. I won't tell you the number of turkeys that I've flung arrows at and had no success.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea. Like, I don't know. I've talked to you guys about going with the bullheads and whatnot, but I don't know. I feel like it can be a little bit more of tuning issues, but I just like the idea of having the chance of maybe I'm a little cocky, but I'm confident in my long range. And so, like, if I had to, I mean, someone might go, well, why haven't you shot one then if you've seen so many birds? Well, it's not always that close. Or, you know, if they're holding still, like, you know, 3 years ago when I started, a guy that used to work here brought me out to private land, and this bird was just all balled up. I mean, just puffed up 80 yards away. I'm like, dude, he's standing perfectly still. I could send this, no problem. The only problem was there's a wire horse fence, like a wire taped fence. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to try and sneak one through that, pay the farmer back, like, you know, that sort of deal. But I like the idea of being able to get a little more distance where, you know, if that bird is hung up at 30, can you make a shot with a bullhead at 30? I mean,
You can.
You can, but I don't recommend
it's
it.
going to look a little weird.
I do not recommend it.
It's a long ways.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. You got those, you know, blades out there, and you could get a lot of planing, that sort of thing.
Like, I mean, Jeremiah out back, you know, this year he shot his at like 32 or something. I mean, it's definitely a possibility where, you know, you might limit yourself with going with the...
Yeah, but he was using a conventional blade, so,
Right.
you know, that's totally different.
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean, we were shooting them. The first one I shot was with ears, and I was shocked to find out that we would only set the decoys up at like 6 yards.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I would have to practice super close range because I didn't even have, you know, my normal pin setup wouldn't even, you know, strike that close. But then one interesting tidbit too that I just realized is I was watching the Hunting Public, and Aaron Warbritton was talking about how, you know, just before he takes that shot, he'll throw out 2 quick, just little cuts.
Yeah.
And then it gets them to raise their head and pause for a second and gives you that opportunity to take that shot. And I kind of thought, oh, well, that's interesting. Then I was going back and looking at a bunch of footage from when I was hunting with ears. And so I'm listening to how he's calling. And every single time, like, there's a video of Steve shooting a bird. Both of them shot a bird. They got a double. And in that video, Ears does just that. He just burp, burp, and then turkey stops, whack.
Yep.
And then 5 minutes later, these jakes are running around, and same thing. He did the same thing. So that's definitely something, you know, to think about when you're doing that. Because a lot of people, you know, they say, oh, well, you know, if the birds are in close, you don't want to call because then you might spook them off or something like that. Or if they're coming in, don't call. But that's, you know, it's proven to work in a lot of different scenarios. And less calling, like a little bit like with the yelps, you know what I mean? You and I were talking about that the other day, how I get into this thing where I'm like, burp, 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 you know, and it's like...
Pretty soon you're wound up.
And the way Ears was calling, and exactly what Aaron was saying too, is it's just 3, just burp, 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 you know, and let it be, and just to give them some confidence as they're coming in.
Yep.
And you don't have to get too crazy with it. You got to soften it up a little bit.
I was going to say, I do some like soft clucks and whatnot, you know, just some real small, like feeding clucks sort of deal, like when they're coming in. Seems to be fine, but that's the hens that come in for me. So
I don't mind the hens coming in though.
A
lot of birds I've killed because I've called the hens in, and eventually the toms will come with them.
Yeah,
that's how I killed my bird this year. Was doing exactly that.
Yeah.
So
if I could get that one to commit like last week when my legs just went dead on me because
Yeah,
I got
we'll
it.
get to that. Go on.
Yeah, I get in there way late. Not way late, but again, public land wars. I go to a different spot and get in late. And I'm like, well, I'm just gonna rock, no blind, and had exactly that. I had 6 hens just all feeding around me, outside of a blind. I'm just like, oh, kill me right now, because my legs are just numb. Because I've been on my knees at this point for like 40 minutes.
Saying outside of a blind implies that you had a blind at that point.
100% correct. I was like, I don't want to set up in the light. They might see me coming in, and then lo and behold, I get like 300-yard walk. I get out there and I hear gobbles just going off. I'm like, cool. They roosted where they've never roosted before. They're twice the distance away. I could have brought the double bowl out, popped her up in the trees, and I would have been perfect, perfectly fine. Yesterday I did that. I did exactly that. I actually was sat up right underneath the roost, and God, I mean, I'd be damned, man. They see it right there, like, oh, a decoy? No, I'll go that way. And then they go right on, and they're like, oh, private land? Cool. And then they just sit and watch you. They're sitting there with their middle finger.
Yeah, decoys are a 50-50, It's like if you've got 3 good toms that are getting fired up, you know what I mean? You don't have to worry, but sometimes you get those like satellite ones that are just bouncing around and they it can push them away. So it's tricky, man. Because then there's other times where you're like, gosh, if I had a decoy, he'd have been on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
I've just been like, I would pay to have a satellite tom. What did I have yesterday? But then again, he's henned up, and it's just like, man, like I feel like sometimes like the satellite toms, you might be able to pull a little bit easier just because, hopefully they're more dominant. If they're subdominant, maybe they see that hen or a couple hens like, oh, look what I can find here. And
or the hens he's with are bred, and he's like, hey.
Yeah, here's one more. So that's what I've been hoping for, because other times we're, sitting there with, like you said, 3 toms, and it's like they haven't seen the decoys, honestly. They don't break that tree line. I think I send a text every day to Johnny. They're not breaking the tree line. Like, every day. So, yeah, it's just been a struggle of just trying to get them to come out and just commit.
Last month I've had more conversation with Wood between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. than any other time of the day.
Yeah,
right?
Than an ATA show.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you'd stop trying to be a Chris B or a Michael Hunsucker and just sit in a blind.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, and Sam left me with his double bowl, and he's actually hunting today, and he's just in it with the toms right now, and I don't know what he texts me now, but he's got them, but I'm like, so he's got his other blind, but I'm like, that will suck. It's like, 70 degrees out right now?
Oh, it's almost 80.
Yeah, I mean, it's warm, and he doesn't have his double bowl, so he's got to be sweating.
Yeah, it's 78 right now.
Yeah, nice.
So,
Oofda.
Yeah. So shout out to Double Bowl in that respect. Thank you, Johnny. Going with the what do they call that? Like the invisible mesh stuff.
oh, just shoot through mesh.
Yeah. It's just insane. Like you get that 360 view. Mm-hmm. It's great on a day like today where it breathes. But oh man.
Oh, is that the blind you're using?
Yeah.
One of those 360 ones.
Yeah, super nice. But my God, I mean.
Well, and make sure you open the vent on top too. That helps him.
That one.
Oh, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, that one's it's just a full cap on top. But yeah, when there's a little breeze though, or like when we went out when it was raining a couple weeks ago, you might have been, you two were gone. But when it rained, you were hunting actually. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that was when you were out.
Oh yeah. I mean, like that 360 blind, she lets water in. So I mean, my bow is just soaked, but whatever. It's just the bow. That's Vapor Trail Products is going to hold up, to the weather. So whatever, but it's just, I mean,
nicely done.
You're gonna, shameless plug.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides the point, it's just it gets a little chilly, but on a day like today, it's just like, this is so nice. A little bit of a breeze coming through.
Yeah.
I'd be out cold in the bottom of the blind right now.
Same. I'm just thinking of it right now.
Yeah. Oh man, my old double bull. I've rode out some thunderstorms in that thing.
Oh yeah.
Just zip it up, close it up quick, and I'm like, you can't really see what's going on outside, but I'm like, there might be a tornado really close to me. And you get a little bit of water that drips in through the top. Otherwise, it's all good. And then pretty soon you just open up that flap, and it's like a Disney movie. You know, the deer come out, and you hear that little
butterflies
song.
and little finches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No turkeys though.
Yeah.
Ever.
No.
Stupid turkeys.
Yeah.
I hate turkeys.
Yeah. It's like I was saying, that whole tree line thing, man. They are educated birds when it goes to public land. It's just nuts.
It's pressure.
Yeah. And then the one day you go set up down here, they run across the field back and forth for an hour straight, where you're not. It's just like, come on.
Yep.
One of these days it'll fall in place. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
Johnny and I were joking about this the other day. So, back in the 1900s when I first started getting into bow hunting, I watched a video called "So You Want to Be a Bow Hunter." It was by H.S. Strutt.
Yeah.
And they also had one, "So You Want to Be a Turkey Hunter." That's one of the things that they talk about.
Thanks.
That's one of the things that they talk about is just being mindful of having barriers between you and the birds, because they can get hung up on some of the dumbest stuff. So it's like, but in most places you can't avoid it. You just got to take a chance. And
Yeah. No, I put a stock on one on Sunday, and God, they have X-ray vision, man.
Yes.
And I had to go into the worst spot. It's just these tall stands of pine trees, very open underneath those. And I'm just like holding up against this tree, like he won't see me. He's got a couple small ones, and I saw his head go behind the tree, and I think I was telling you, Rick, I'm like, just because I can't see his head doesn't mean he doesn't have a good angle yet.
Yeah.
And I think I got all up to like here, and he just brings his head up, does that little cluck, that little putt, and then he just.
I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yep.
Dang it. Here we go again. Yeah.
Stupid turkeys.
Yeah. 'Tis the season. We can't all be like Matt Dykes and John Betker here. So.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dykes crushes me when it comes to turkeys.
I don't even know. What blows my mind about that is he does, I don't know, maybe kills 20 a year.
Oh,
Is that too many?
I don't think so.
And
He's already at 4 or
spot and
5.
stock, bro. Like I've chased
Really?
him all over South Dakota, and I cannot get. It's ridiculous.
I wasn't sure if he was using a blind or what. He stopped in just recently, and we were asking him because he got off his little turkey tour, and we're like, what one stands out the most to you? And I think he obviously oscillated. That's to complete his world slam, I think. Or
I think that's what it was.
One of the big slams, but then he's saying the Osceola, but I didn't even ask. So you're telling me he stocks?
To my knowledge, that's.
Wow.
And he takes poke shots too. Like he
can get better.
He can launch.
Holy hell.
So hopefully we can get him on the podcast sometime, and he can elaborate a little bit more on that. But he does not get near enough credit for
what
the
he
skill
does.
set that he has, because there's not a lot of people that can do that, and he just loves it. Like he lives, eats, sleeps, and breathes it. And I'm completely the opposite. Like everybody's getting all pumped up about turkey hunting, and all I can think about is fall.
Yeah, this is, I think, the only thing that bridges me to fall now. I mean, for 20-something years, I don't know what I was doing, but I mean, we were doing food plots and whatever you do in the spring, get ready for fall. But I was just like, whatever, birds. But now this year, you guys all know how I was. I actually had not really a bet, but internally with like John, I'm like, I'm going to be the first person in Vapor Trail to get a bird this year. And our buddy over at Wildlife Research sends us a text, I think opening day.
Yeah.
That like his son got one, Tom Carroll. And then, God, who else? I don't know. A mound of people beat me before I could even,
Yeah, well, I think Dykes had sent a couple pictures, so we
Dykes
knew he
was
he was already done.
Yeah.
So, and I know Mello was out. I don't know if you ever got his, but he was sending pictures too.
And then Johnny shot his, and I don't think you did anything. You just sent a picture of it being dead. I'm like, understood.
Yep.
Understood.
Yep.
I'm not good.
I took Emma to like Lowe's or something. I had to pick something up, and I stopped the car, and I just buzzed through my messages real quick, and I saw I had one from Johnny, and it said Turkey 1, Johnny 0, and that was it. And I think that was a group text to all of us, or maybe I don't.
No, I think it was to you and Wood, I believe.
Yeah. So either way, I was like, oh, bummer, and so I'm like, respond to him. I was like, oh man, that's too bad. I don't know, probably said something smart alecky or something. I don't know. And then And then I checked the next message, and here he's got a bird down. I was like, what?
Just 2 hours apart.
Yeah.
So,
because what happened there? You had one come in, or
yeah, well, when I came in, I'd been scouting these birds all spring. Well, not all spring, probably, 3 weeks worth of scouting because we couldn't get into the field because of the snowpack.
Oh, yeah.
So, but the birds are pretty religious out there on their patterns. You just got to know which pattern it is they're on because it kind of changes, every few weeks. And so I go sneaking in there on a Sunday afternoon to go hunting. I had a pretty good idea where they were going to be, so I just drove my truck down the shelter belt, and there's one little 2-track that cuts through to the back field, and I stopped my truck and snuck out and kind of just stuck my head in the field, and lo and behold, 75 yards down the field, running the tree line, here's half a dozen toms, half a dozen hens are all out there just playing around. I'm like, oh, gee, goop. So I just backed up, pulled everything out of the truck quick, actually set up on the opposite side of the shelter belt from the field they were in so that I could shoot the 2-track. Belly crawled out, slapped my decoys out there, and then just backed my truck up 50 yards along the shelter belt and came back and jumped in the blind. And, I was kind of looking with the binoculars and stuff. I couldn't see them. I didn't know if I spooked them off or if they just naturally went about their merry little way. And I was like, all right, whatever. So sitting there, and of course, being an idiot, admit that wholeheartedly. Of course, I'm all in black hood, black gloves, shirt, everything like that. So just being an idiot, bored, checking on things, and just sitting there on my phone like this, and literally from here to the wall away comes 2 birds, drop down in full strut that I never even saw them, never nothing. Came cruising by the blind. The one actually had to pick its claw up to go over the tie cord that I'd put down to stake the blind down. So, of course, instead of having my bow in my hand, I got my phone in my hand. I'm like, maybe I should just throw this at him, stupid turkey. So truth be told, I, completely airballed on that one. That's why the message was, turkey's won, Johnny nothing, is because I was totally unprepared in the respect that I wasn't in the mindset for a shot. I'm not an Olympic archer. I may be an Olympic skier, but I'm not an Olympic archer. And I have my progression that I have to go through. And if I don't go through it, there's no point in me even taking the shot, even though I will, because I'm a dork that way. But I know if I don't have my certain rhythm that I do to get comfortable to get down to my pin, chances are it's not going to work out good. And just the whole fluster of, literally having 2 10-inch long beards, 3 feet out of the blind with me not even having my bow in my hand. By the time I could drop my phone, slink down, grab my bow, get back up, realize they're still there, and at that point, the whole mental execution of, okay, John, do this, do this, do this. Yeah, at that point in time, it was more instinctive shooting where it's like, whack, and just basically let the arrow go. So,
spray and pray.
Yep. But, it was no harm, no foul. It grazed the one. As far as feathers, I didn't catch anybody at all. And they could care less. They walked off naturally. They never spooked. They never putted. They never nothing. And then it was probably, about 2 hours later, they just kept doing their big circle in the field where, like I said, the hens, I actually saw the hens. They were coming up on the riverbank because where I hunt's right on the Mississippi. You guys know that. And the hens were on the wrong side. And I knew the toms had to be with them. And I'm like, well, if I don't get the hens over here, the toms are going to go along that riverbank. And if they go along that riverbank, at least for this moment, I'm not going to get a shot opportunity. They'll circle around again. But for this pass, I won't get an opportunity. So I laid on the hens and finally got one of the hens to answer me where we basically just got in a little, chat ourselves. Yeah. And finally she got pissed at me where she came across the field. And then it was probably, couldn't have been 5 minutes. This time I was prepared for it. I'm like, if they came over here and as they were in my decoys, the hens, I kept on seeing the one that I was calling with, she'd kind of look my way where the calls were coming, and all of a sudden she'd go and kind of look down the shelter belt line, and I'm like, oh, I guarantee you all 6 of them toms are coming down that line on my side. So I already had my bow in hand and everything, and had kind of prepped myself that don't be an idiot, go through your mental progression, John, don't lose your mind. And yeah, it couldn't have been a couple minutes after that. I could just, before they broke into the opening, you could just see the top 2-3 inches of their fans, where there was 3-4 of them in full strut just coming down the shelter belt line. I'm like, hoo. So
That's such an awesome.
but the only thing mind tingling about that is now I've got, at that point now I've got 4 hens and 6 toms, ranging from 3 yards out of the blind to 17 yards out of the blind, where getting to full draw, I've hunted out of blinds enough. I know I can do a backflip in there and they're not going to see me, but it's still just, the mental games in your head where it's like, all right, I got 20 some sets of eyes looking at me right now. So, but they did exactly what they were supposed to do. Blind did what they were supposed to do, and fortunately I did what I was supposed to do. So
Ultimately, that's
good
what
job, Johnny.
Were you running a box call to get that call way out there then, or?
I throw everything I can at them.
Yeah.
I do use box calls. I obviously use diaphragm calls. Slate calls, I prefer slate calls when they're closer.
Yeah.
It's just because they're, to me anyway, they're not as overpowering.
Yeah, you can get them pretty soft. I know, like diaphragms you can, and that's only what I run. But again, that shows to everyone how new I am. I'm just like, I don't know about an $80 box call. Let's try like a Quaker Boy for like $12 or something. Like, I know a box call is needed though, because there's days like, if Sam and I do go out, oh my God, you can just get that out there, just turn that box over and go. Otherwise, with the diaphragm, it's like you're blowing your lungs off, and maybe the reed folds over wrong. It's like, I just sounded really stupid. So.
Well, and I don't know if this is right or wrong. Again, this is Johnny's mind of turkey hunting. Is, to me, I've always been able to get a box call out there further, where if you got a bird 200-300 yards out, it just seems that box call's got a little bit more grit to it, or amplification, or I don't know what what it is, but it just gets out there more, where I tend to have a better reaction at those long distances. And again, if you're really desperate, need to get their attention, if you really lay on a box call and just make it actually just really hard, it hurts your ear in the blind when you do that. But again, a turkey that's at a distance, that it hasn't reacted to a mouth call, it hasn't reacted to a slate call, it hasn't reacted to anything, it's so far out there, just crank on that box call really hard once, just to make sure if he actually is hearing you.
Right.
And I've had birds respond to that.
Yeah.
I've killed birds doing that.
So I've ran into that plenty of times this year, where they're out there. And I'm sitting there with the diaphragm, but I'm like, doing like one of these things where it's like, hopefully he hears me, because I don't have a box call. But that was a mid-morning hunt too, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, when the first 2 came by that I missed, that was probably about 10:30, maybe.
Yeah, that's what sounded
10:45.
Right. I think I was sitting in a field up around Cambridge.
Yeah, you were.
And I was watching one strut around with 1,800 hens, and I'm like, I'm gonna pull one with no decoy. Yeah, right.
And then I think it was like 2:00, 2:30 when I shot that one.
Yeah.
So.
That's
And there were birds around the whole time. As far as, you talk about laying down, taking a nap in the blind, no matter what direction I looked for the entire time I was out there. Now, granted, some of them were at a distance that I couldn't do anything with, or they were hens that had no toms with them, so I wasn't going to, try to pester them too badly. But it was exciting in the respect that I always had something going on. So
yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah. To go back to like what you were talking about, about like expensive calls and all that kind of stuff. And, folks feel free to, argue with me on this one. I'm obviously not an expert in the field. I got lucky twice. So, but I've heard some jakes make some really ridiculous noises where I'm like, that could not have been a real turkey.
It was.
And then here he comes popping up over. I'm like, wow, that whole, you know what I mean? So I don't think that not being really good at calling is necessarily going to hurt your chances. You know,
Agree wholeheartedly.
So, just do it. You know, because
Yeah.
when I first started turkey hunting, I was like scared to call. 'Cause I'm like, oh, I'm terrible at this. I don't know what I'm doing. You know. And so, but the more time you spend out there, the more you hear the sounds that they make, and you kind of start to understand. And then, and again, I used to run around and spend a ton of time in the turkey woods, and I don't as much anymore because my time is limited. So I try to, put it in places where I enjoy the hunt, and that's not turkeys so much. I love hunting with my buddy Travis, and so that's one of the big reasons why I try to just get out at least for a couple of days, because it is, and it's fun to listen to everybody's stories too. And heck, if I can get one, I mean, I got lucky and got one. Well, maybe I wouldn't say lucky, but I think it was, we had a pretty good plan and we got it done last year. So that was pretty cool. I got my bird last year, Travis didn't, and then now we're vice versa this year. So, but either way, once I get out there, it's always just super fun, and I had the weirdest encounter this year with a turkey. Of all the times I've been out, this was very bizarre. So weather was terrible, like we had talked about before. Nothing was gobbling. I think we heard one gobble the first morning. That was it. Rained pretty much the entire time. So one afternoon, we're kind of coming out, and we're going through these planted spruce trees, rows of these planted spruce trees, and there's like some openings here and there, and some open grass fields. And we're coming across, and all of a sudden Travis goes, "What is that?" And I look over, and you can just see, it just looks like a trash bag, just like sitting out there in the middle of the open. And so we look in our binoculars, and we're like, man, we're debating. Like, he thought it was a turkey vulture, and I was like, yeah, it kind of does look like a turkey vulture. And it's just sitting there, this turkey, or this bird, it's just sitting there. It's got its head tucked way back in the feathers. So all you could see was just a little bit of its face. And then all of a sudden it kind of started to move a little bit, and then it shook off, and it was raining, so you could, it was kind of hard to see a little bit. You had some of that rain in between us to where it kind of blurred him a little. And anyway, all of a sudden he starts to move. I'm like, my God, that is a turkey. And I'm like, how is it that he's still standing there? I mean, we're standing in the wide open looking through our binoculars at this thing. And I couldn't believe that it hadn't bolted yet, which was completely bizarre. I've never, because usually they see you before you see them. I mean, by the time you get your binos up and you're looking through them and you find it, it's already gone, So anyway, so I'm like, we formulate a plan. I'm like, here, I'm going to get in these trees, and then you go back, behind me 15 yards and call, see if we can get them to come by. And so we tried this out, and nothing's really happening. And he walks up to me and he goes, yeah, he's kind of walking away from us, but he's limping. And I was like, oh, really? And so then I get the binoculars on him again, and he's injured. I don't know what.
Yeah, don't know what did it, but
coyote, or if maybe he was shot at, who knows? But he's just sitting there out in the middle of the open, probably trying to make sure that he can see, if something's coming at him. But he's just sitting out there in the wide open, not moving at all. Mm-hmm. And of course, me being a terrible turkey hunter, we tried to formulate a plan and get on him, and blew it, and it flew away, and can't even kill a wounded turkey. So with a shotgun, no less. So, but it was crazy because it was chilling in this field, and there was, I mean, I don't know, there had to have been 20 like bird poop spots or turkey poop spots all over the place. So he's just been hanging out in this open field all day, So just bizarre. One of the craziest things.
Yeah, it's weird.
I wish I'd have killed him. That'd have been kind of cool.
Say, if a coyote doesn't get him by next time you're up there,
yeah,
you're gonna have to take care of him.
Yeah, we tried to go back. I went back in there in the evening and tried, but evenings are tough, man. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if it's even worth being out there.
That's where I come in. Nope. In my experience, no. I mean, they're here and there, but man, every time I've sat this year for an evening hunt, it's just like, why am I here? Yeah. Like
evening hunts, you got to be between point A and point B, with point B
kidding.
being the roost.
Yeah.
If you're anywhere else, you ain't going to get them.
I have the one spot where we found his roost tree, and I'm like, I might, like, if I do anything, I'm setting up 10 yards from it. Mm-hmm. No kidding. Like, no line, right under it. Because that's, like, the only chance that would keep me out there in the evening. Otherwise, no. I mean, I've seen them around that midday hour and whatnot. But geez, I mean, evening's tough. I like going in the mornings. You can hear them. You can see where they are moving and everything. But, yeah, it's just awesome hearing them just go off. Super far away from you, not even close. And to also give myself a little credit here, I've hunted a lot of days, but that's the other thing that I really do feel like, because when Sam was texting me today, it was like 11:30 to get those toms. I think right now, or we like early mid-May, I think right now you gotta be there after they're breeding, like done breeding for the morning.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know how many birds I could potentially kill if I could stay out there from like 10 to noon. But my shift starts at 10, so I'm hunting every single morning till about 9 o'clock. I'm kissing the buzzer, on where I can be out there. And it's like right when they're getting out of the roost, good chance. Then from about 6 to 8, there's nothing. Then about 8:30 to 9, it's like, Johnny, I've got one coming, but, my car's that way. So, I think that mid-morning would be perfect, but it's like, God, they know when I leave.
Yeah.
I think they must, they're probably talking to you guys. You guys
Maybe.
tell them I have to leave by 9, so they just enter the field at 9. I don't know. It's just terrible.
At 9:45, gobble right behind them.
Yeah. Let them know that he's leaving and you're coming.
So, I know I've been over here bah humbugging turkey hunting this whole time, but I will say that it is a really cool opportunity to get kids out. Because I've gotten coat out a couple times. It's nice to be able to sit in a blind, and if it's going to rain or something like that, and then you can get away with the movement and everything. And I got my daughter out one day, which was kind of cool. She's 2.5, so I just figured, well, okay, so I got her Bluetooth headphones and put an iPad in her hands, and she watched a movie, And again, it was an evening hunt, so but still, it was a ton of fun. She was all excited to jump into a blind, and when I was packing everything up, like I look up and she's over there like spinning the decoys, and just like having a blast with them, and then like holding them and petting them and stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that's good, but so there's that. When she comes of age where she'll be able to tolerate it more, and hopefully she enjoys it. She doesn't, it is what it is, but that'll definitely get me in the woods a lot more.
Yeah. And I think, like you're saying, for kids, turkey hunting's a definitely easier way to go.
Yeah.
For
sure.
It's decent weather like today. The mornings suck. Jeremiah was saying like his daughter, she's not so sure about, 4 a.m., but it's like, I can get behind that. But if you can nail down a spot like you've got, where you can go out there at 9 instead, that helps. But it's way easier, because if you have to, you just fall down in the blind and take a nap.
Yep.
I've done that. So it's nice. Deer hunting is just like, how cold are we going to get today?
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't fall the tree.
Yeah.
No, it is great for getting the kids involved. That's how I got Sarah involved.
Yeah.
Some of her hunts when she was really young, before she was shooting a bow, they were priceless hunts. I had a blast, and it got her hooked on it where, once she was old enough to shoot a bow, she did. And all of a sudden she started killing more turkeys than I did for a few years. So, in fact, she's upset with me for the bird I killed this year because I didn't even tell her I was going. I just packed up that day and went out all by myself. So when I shot it, she's like, you didn't even tell me you were going turkey hunting. I'm like, yeah, because you would have shot it then.
Yeah.
It's Dad's turn to kill a turkey this year, kid.
Yeah.
So
she had last year.
Yeah, she got that one last year.
Get out of here.
So, yep, exactly. My turn.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we didn't. When I first moved here is kind of when I started to get into doing some of the turkey hunting and stuff. And where I grew up in Polk County in Crookston, I'd never even seen a turkey. I didn't know turkeys were even wild in Minnesota when I was growing up, and they were reintroduced, I think. I don't know, and somebody can fact check me on this, but I imagine it was sometime when I was in college, probably the early 2000s. And now they're thriving up there. I see them all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, that would have been cool, as I was growing up. Because, everybody was goose hunting and duck hunting, and I wasn't really into that. I'd like to walk trails and grouse hunt, stuff like that from time to time. But, just never had the opportunity for turkey hunting. It just didn't really exist up there.
No. Yeah, and your time period's about right. It was early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s that did a concerted effort to, transplant some birds up there, and did really well.
Yeah,
obviously.
they did well.
So.
Yeah, I see them, but not as much as I see them down here. But
well, no.
That's also could be just because I don't know, there's so many open fields up there. It's all farm fields and stuff. And so they're probably isolated in groups in the woods and stuff like
Got
that.
a lot of wolves up there too.
Yep.
And I was trying to look it up, but for whatever reason, I can find when they were unsuccessfully reintroduced up there. But I'm not finding when they put them back up there. But
Well, and I know winters are really tough,
yeah,
for them up there. And I think, for whatever reason, just that 1 year they started, they survived a winter and they adapted.
Well, when was the big flood too? That was early 90s, wasn't it?
That was 97.
97? Because
90.
I can't remember if they had started at that point, but I know there were a lot of areas, wildlife areas, that obviously they were underwater for how long and how deep that, that impacted a lot of that stuff. So I don't know if that the case in turkeys, but it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
I mean, the one or two they had up there, if they didn't have inner tubes, they were dead. So
Right.
floating turkeys.
Yeah, that was a crazy deal there.
Yeah.
I got out of school to sandbag.
yeah,
To put up sandbag walls. The river was right in my backyard.
that's my
this
company I worked for sent us up there to go do the same thing.
Yeah.
So
was this the Red River?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Red
okay.
River.
yeah.
Wow, that must have been pretty full.
Oh, dude, it was
insane.
It got to the point where, so what you do is they lay down this plastic, right? And then you start stacking sandbags up, but you got to start with a row of 7 and then 6, then 5. You got to build. You can't just stack them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just stack them one on top of each other. They're not going to do anything. And then what they do is then they pull the plastic over the top, right? Well, there was a point where there was a line of people holding that plastic up because the water was starting to come over the sandbags. And there was a ice dam on a bridge just outside of town, and so they had cranes in there where they were just they just had these big, huge I-beams on the end of them, and they were just trying to bust up that ice and try to get the water moving. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the whole thing just breaks through, and we just watched the water drop a foot instantly, and then it slowly started to recede. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Jeez. What I missed out on, man.
Yeah, and I was just a little
Now it's
tyke.
just global warming.
It's always been like that, though. Every year up
Yeah.
there, there's always this fear of flooding. And the house I grew up in now, they ripped it down. They tore down all those houses on that block, built up the levees.
Well, I missed the Halloween blizzard, though, too. I missed all this.
Oh, that was a riot.
Yeah, you guys had some fun stuff. Not me.
30 inches of snow in 24 hours.
Oh, my God.
Bizarre definition
Yeah.
of fun, but it was fun.
Ridiculous.
So,
Yeah. I used to shovel. That was my job, to shovel the sidewalks, man. And I remember throwing snow way up. And then we had to have, people would put these little bright foam balls on the antenna of their car.
oh, yeah.
And you could just see those things going by, just above the snowbanks.
Yep.
Just because otherwise you couldn't see if a car was coming.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So you walk out in the street and get
We almost got to that point this year. I swear to God. At least Anoka County, they were so slow on clearing these, the side roads. It's
Yeah.
what the hell are you doing? I'm halfway out in the intersection just to see if one guy's coming from the right.
right.
Yeah, some of the back roads by stop signs and stuff like that, it was all right, stop and just slowly eke out a foot, just to see if anybody's coming.
Yeah. So I can't imagine back then, my God, when it actually snowed.
Yeah, it was a lot of snow.
Yeah.
So-
And it snows up there where I grew up a lot more than it does down here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I think it was, God, wasn't that even that long ago. It was 2 weeks ago or something like that. I think they got a couple,
Oh,
5,
up
6
there?
inches of snow up there.
Yeah.
We didn't get nothing down here, thankfully. I think it just rained. It was probably those 2 days it rained while I was turkey hunting.
Yeah, it was.
They got snow up there.
It was.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
Well, I'm glad because I put those shovels away after that one day when there was literally no chance I could make it into work. I said, I'm done with this winter, man. I threw those shovels in the back and said, done.
Well, wait a minute. Where were you when we got the 20 inches of snow that I had to plow the sidewalk over
man,
there?
I was sitting in Mexico. I
That's
think.
right.
Yeah,
Yes.
you were.
So
Yeah, I
cry me a
was.
river,
Yeah.
pal. Yeah.
Yep, I was. Ensenada was amazing.
sitting in the nice weather. And then what do I do to go on vacation? I go up north where it's even colder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Swing a hammer at some hot steel.
Good planning on your part.
Yeah. Wonderful weather.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so what's your game plan turkey on the rest of you? What are you going to try to do? Other than kill one?
I don't know. I didn't wake up this morning.
You
I woke up at 3:10 and I was just like, man, do I go to Cambridge? Do I go to my other spot where I've been fighting that dude? Like, I don't know where to go, man. And even if someone was to be there or not be there,
Yeah.
there's a new car there now where I'm like, how many birds are going to get killed out there? That spot is amazing because there's like 3 hens to, 4, well, let's just say it's a 3-to-1 ratio, toms to hens. I mean, it is a really good ratio. Up in Cambridge, it's like reverse. I mean, it's really bad where it's good in one respect if you can get all those hens in.
Yeah.
But this spot where I had that one day where that guy came in and busted me, it's like I can pretend to be a hen and these toms just come right in.
Yeah.
So I want to be there, but it's like, okay, how many are dead now?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if it's really worth me wasting a morning there. It's a shorter drive, so of course I want to do that, but
Right.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Get past this weekend and see what happens on the promised land and maybe drag you two out there and
Right. Yeah.
see what kind of chaos
like I
we
said,
can create.
I'm not trying to be the stubborn guy. It's just, and I don't know. I don't want to be like public land hunter, like whatever. I don't know. I want to do it and try and do it myself. Show I can do it.
Yeah, dude.
She's tough. So.
Well, public land or private land, you still got to execute.
Right.
You still got to take the shot and hit the bird. So
I'm just thinking like if I had a weekend, but I have some personal stuff going on, so it's just like every day that I get a chance to fully be out there, it's like I gotta go do this now.
yeah.
And then that's when the birds come out. I'm like, man, if I could just have a full day just to sit out there, it'd be mint. But I don't know. I'm bouncing between those 2 public spots, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to try an evening hunt, I guess, underneath that roost. Otherwise, I have a game plan in my pocket where I get up, like I did today, instantly leave, get out there 4 a.m, literally set up in the woods where they roost, risk it all, I guess, and just hope. I mean, because the other thing is, like, the guys that have been hunting this other spot,
Yeah.
they're not going near as far as I am. I'm going to the back corner, way back in there, and which is dumb because it's not like turkeys hide themselves like deer.
Yeah.
Like when we're out west, like you got to walk a long ways where you might find something. Turkeys tell everyone where they are.
Yeah.
But every time I've had people, they're not even close to where I am and where they are. So I don't know. I think that's the plan right now. A morning hunt is going to be way in there, right underneath them, land on me. And if they don't, then I'm throwing my hands up. Then maybe an evening hunt. Then eventually private. And just tip my cap. So, yeah.
Yeah, season F's coming up here pretty quick, 17th.
Don't remind me.
So that's when it opens back up again for me, and I don't know, see if I can make a few things happen. I got some options. I don't know. Like I was telling Johnny, too, I thought about talking to Nathan and see, because a morning hunt, like during the week, I could probably pull off. Weekends don't work. But, and then, my buddy Charles, he offered to take me out, during the F season too. So, and there's good chance I'll get one. He's called in several birds for me and I always choke. And, but with a shotgun.
I was going to say, not with a shotgun, though.
No.
And I don't know. He might not let me use one though, just because that's his thing too. He wants to do it with a bow.
I mean, like I said, with the shotgun, these spots I've been, you could take out. I don't know where you've been going. Like I know where you've been going, but I don't know how it is up there. Are the birds pretty heavy up there, or you just gotta find the right spot?
There's a good amount of birds, but there's also a lot of pressure too. Because it's public. But again, I killed a bird last year. Travis killed a bird this year. And Jeremiah, he's familiar with the area.
Yeah.
And he doesn't hunt it, but he's got other spots.
Right.
But he's always asking me too. He's curious about how if I'm seeing a lot of hunters. And honestly, I don't see very many hunters at all. I'll see them kind of parked in some spots, but then it's also an area where a lot of people just go out and camp.
Yeah.
Because the campgrounds aren't open yet. And people like to get out really early.
Yeah.
And so we came across, probably 4 or 5 vehicles. They weren't even there hunting. They were just there camping. They just
Really?
park their vehicle and then they hike in,
That's
30,
pretty cool.
30, 40 yards and just pitch a tent, so there's that too. But so I don't know, they were just gobbling like crazy last year. And then even during like the last season, I tried to take Coda out and I was able to call some birds. And then I blew it because I didn't estimate how far away they were. And we ended up just setting up right underneath them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I busted them out of the roost. And so that was pretty much the end of that. But I mean, it was end of the season, and they were still making noise and still plenty of birds out there. So,
Right.
I could probably go out there again too and give a crack at it. And there's a couple other public spots up by me where if I could get out there in the morning, they might produce something as well. But again, I don't know. The public land, that's tough, man. There's a lot of pressure. So you got to be really good at calling, I think. There's that. And then just understanding, should I put a decoy out? Should I not put a decoy out?
Yep.
I just don't have enough experience to really know which decision to make. It seems like every decision I make is the wrong one.
Well, yeah, and
I feel
truth
that.
of the matter is, even if you do know, they can change your mind so quickly
Right.
that you do the right thing and it still doesn't matter.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So I'm sure even the best hunters run into issues like that. But
Oh,
At
yeah.
the same time, I don't know. I mean, still time spent out in the woods too.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
So,
I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think
about
my
the only
wife
time
would,
you
but-
get to clear your head and
yeah, well,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's nice. Good de-stress
exactly.
out there.
yeah, I got to try to get my wife out more too because she hates, like, she's just got something with birds. She's not unless it's an owl. She wants an owl. She would love to have a pet owl. Other than that, she hates all birds. Perfect. They can die.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think turkey's right up her alley.
yeah, I did get her out the one time out at Nathy's.
Oh,
We
yeah,
didn't
that's
see
right.
We just didn't see any birds that one morning.
Yep.
But yeah, I got her in the old Sitka ninja suit, and we sat in the blind one morning. It was fun. Hopefully, we can do it again. It's just with Emma being the age that she is, it's a little tough. you know.
Yeah.
She doesn't have grandparents to watch her either, so we have to rely on our sisters, and we only have one apiece up here. So
Yep.
Yeah. She's busy with shiny objects.
oh. Yeah, shiny objects. Here we go. Totally almost forgot about that.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, every episode,
Brought it up.
yeah, every episode we're gonna have a segment called Shiny Objects, and I'm kind of stealing this from another podcast that I listen to, but I thought it was kind of a cool thing to get on top of. We can talk about whatever cool thing that's come out, whether maybe it's not so cool, but just whatever, and hopefully it's archery related. Doesn't have to be.
What's
but
the buzz?
so I've got a few things, but Hollywood, I know you kind of got a little bit of a list there. So what's your
Do I?
current shiny object?
I don't know. Well, it runs into yours. I mean, the big thing that was released in the last week, at least on some of the socials, is Easton's. What the heck do they call it? Their uniform spine or something like that.
AccuCarbon.
AccuCarbon. I mean, they've been running AccuCarbon for a while, but I think they're. Are you Googling it?
Yeah, I'm looking it up just to make sure that we get the terminology right.
I want to
'cause
say they're trying to essentially say you don't need to worry about spine with their arrows and
not so much about spine, but being indexed or spine aligned.
index, yeah, on their arrows. But I mean, sorry, Matt Stavares, but I've been shooting Easton for a while, and I still do it all the time. There's still, I don't know, it doesn't really make me that much better. I don't know, but there's still a spine there that I can find on a what do you want to call it? Little dial caliper, or
Yeah.
the
There's a little bit of a
instrument.
hump there.
Yeah,
Sometimes too.
When I find that, I index it every single time, fletch my arrows to it, tune my broadheads to that. I mean, then I'll play with knock tuning if the arrow needs, if it's still flying a little goofy, but maybe I missed the spine exactly with the componentry that I'm using, but I still always index on my Eastons. And again, whether that really got me my 350X. Who knows? I mean,
Right.
you got to be able to shoot a bow first.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the reason why they're bringing it up, though, is because Victory is pulling ahead. Matt Stavarius. They're doing really well, at least in the pro shop here. We sell probably 3 to 1, 4 to 1.
I was going to say 4 to 1.
I mean, there's a lot of Victory going out the door, and I think a big thing is, you know, social media's got Victory hyped up pretty good. You got people like Chris B doing the YouTube comparison videos. You've got, I don't know, there's DIY bow hunter, you know, precision, whatever, precision archer. I don't know. There's
Adams.
inside out precision. That's what it is. You know, all these YouTube guys are running Victory stuff here or there. We're mentioning it. I think it helps, but like Rick and I were saying, it helps. Victory comes with it spine aligned.
Right.
So it cuts out having to do the extra work of, okay, now I need this extra tool or machine. And there's different ways, I'm sure, at home you can find the spine. But, yeah, I mean, at least for us bow techs, like up front helping a guy, you don't have to do any spine alignment stuff with Victories. You can literally just peel, and right out of the box, they're already spine aligned and indexed. Whereas the Eastons, who knows? And if you're getting just a set of bare shafts, now we have to index all those ourselves. Whereas Victory, they come indexed. You can just fletch them right to it. Boom, you're done.
Yep.
So I think they're trying to be relevant again, because I referenced that to our rep for Easton, Brad. I was just like, you know, I've shot Easton a lot, you know, for most of my career. And I really love them, but the sales aren't really there right now. Like everyone you see on social media is running Victory.
Yep.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe the component stuff helps. That Victory is selling a lot of, you know, different components with them, but I know Easton is starting to do that. And I don't know. I think that might just be why they brought it up, is just, you know, hey, look, you know, we can do, here's our spine. Don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know the way they're doing their carbon is a little bit different too. They're not doing I think the normal traditional is like a weave or a wrap, where Easton's doing pultrusion, they call it.
Yeah.
Basically pulling out the carbon. But that's my biggest thing right now. I'm just like, I don't know. I still index them, still run it. I don't know if it, again, really makes a huge difference, but
Yeah.
I guess now we could find out.
I mean, if it's true, you know, and I can't, you know, obviously it'd be interesting to find out, like, at what point did they start doing that? Because I've got injections. They don't make those anymore. And I'm still, I've got like 4 dozen of them because I bought a ton of them way back in the day. And, well, I say way back in the day, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years ago, something like that. But, you know, they definitely have, you know, they have an indexing point, whereas, you know, you would want to have everything lined up properly. You want to have them all indexed properly so they come out of the bow the same. And if they're newer arrows, or, you know, are what they say it is, and it's AccuCarbon. I don't know if that's what I said before, but AccuCarbon uniform spine is what they call it. And if that is the case, I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, but at what point did they start doing that? And then how can we, I want to test it. I want to find out, you know?
Yeah, because I'm not super knowledgeable on it. I just know I saw their thing, and I didn't really read a ton into it. But if that's what they're essentially, that's how I'm taking it, you know? I mean, I've got some fresh 4mm long range arrows that I got last year, and I still indexed all those. There was still a spine on one side, and the other, the weak and strong, and right in between, there's nothing. There's just a soft spot. So I'm not really sure where they're going with it, but
that'll be interesting to see. I mean, I do like that they're made in the USA. That's a big,
that's huge.
That's a big selling point, I think. And I think it's smart for them to hit that. As far as the market goes, you know, but again, you know, we'll just have to see. I have no need to buy any more arrows for a really long time still, so I'm just going to keep shooting my old injections for as long as I can, you know. I just, you know, at this point in my life, I find a setup that works good, and I'm just going to stick with it. You know, I used to really love to get a new setup and tinker, but now I just simply don't have the time.
Really? Both of you guys saw my bow in the last couple of weeks?
yeah.
Who's stuck on their ways?
Yeah. Well, Well, if I didn't have
always be tinkering.
if I didn't have to keep pulling the arrow rest off my bow for R&D purposes, I wouldn't have to. I'm going on tuning like number 12 now of tuning my bow because I have to keep pulling it off there.
Yeah, in the last 2 months.
R&D stuff.
Again, to Johnny's point, work in the archery industry. You get to hunt a lot.
Yeah.
Work in the archery industry in a manufacturer standpoint. Yeah, you'll be moving and testing your setup every month.
Yep.
Oh, what do we got this week? Okay, let's
Yeah.
take this apart, retune. Yeah, it's kind of a joke, but it's
Yeah,
fun.
that's how I keep my bow in one piece is because who's possibly going to R&D on a bow that old?
Leave it at home.
Yep.
Don't have to worry
Exactly.
about it.
We'll be fine, John.
What's your shiny object, Johnny?
Oh, gosh. Shiny object.
Ultra View stabilizer.
I know. I was
13%.
13%. I love marketing. I love statistics. It's fun when they put them both together. So, but in all fairness, I would like to explore that,
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so
You're talking the vibration and
Yeah.
13%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so UltraView just came out with a new set of stabilizers, and some of the stuff that Archery Let Down put out there just had me cracking up.
Oh,
I haven't even seen him.
I
don't
love
follow him
that
or
guy.
Logan, but
They come out with tubes that are more tubier.
yeah.
yeah, I saw that on Archery Talk.
Tubier of the tubiest or something like that.
But anyways, and not to dog on UltraView because they make fantastic
they- yeah.
products.
Yeah, no, they're good guys. Great products.
Love the sites. Love the releases.
But it's it's just one of those things. So the weight system is clever. I
Yep.
do like that.
It's like a snap in almost sort of thing, or it's just like a quick weight adjust.
Yeah, it's just the threads are integrated into the weight.
Right.
So you're not having to deal with one long bolt or a short bolt or whatever. They're just
My daisy chains. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
yeah, and aside from that though, I don't know, what serious advantage you're going to get. The statistic of 13% stiffer, is that what they claim?
I think it was just vibration.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Less
vibration, I think.
vibration, because then
Yeah.
True Ball came back. Not trying to start a fight here, but I mean, it came out like a day later.
He
2
said,
days.
she said.
We have less vibration or something. It's just right one after another.
Oh, you sent me that. What was it that you said?
Yeah, that was, you're talking the True Ball one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we have less vibration or something like that. I mean, they're just going back and forth right now. Where
Wow, we talk way too much about turkeys. But okay, there
how
it
much
is.
I'm watching birds. You mean?
Bird watcher.
Yep.
Yeah, less vibration.
Okay.
$1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
just R&D on their less vibration. But my big thing with UltraView, where I can't help but laugh, is every one of us, we're right in it. Every one of the stabilizer manufacturers, whether it True Ball, Quattro,
Stokerized.
Stokerized, to be
You're
clear
welcome.
with everyone. UltraView, it's always like ultra high modular carbon or modulus carbon. It's like you realize everyone's using UHMC, right?
Yeah, that's what we're.
And then even the guy who shall be unnamed, when he started doing a new stabilizer setup, I think with Levi, he said the same thing.
On that note, John's going to go piss.
UV stabilizer is a high performance stabilizer that delivers precision in every shot and power in every ounce.
13% stiffer.
On average, yes, is 13% stiffer than bars with similar diameters. Because that's what I wanted to look at. Because we could come out and say that our stabilizer is 20% stiffer than just a raw tube.
Yeah, what are you comparing it against?
You know what I mean? Again, specifically, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
So that's where those numbers kind of make you giggle a little bit, just because there's so many other factors I feel like that
Right.
are involved. And so, stiffness is definitely something that people want, lightweight, all those kinds of things. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, again, going back into the marketing side of things, I'm sure they'll do well on them. Just
guaranteed.
them being who they are. So, why wouldn't you expand into that market. Johnny, so when I was looking at this, it does say, it says on average UV stabilizer is 13% stiffer. And so again, to your point, I suppose that probably plays into vibration of some sort.
Yeah, absolutely. By what metric are they basing that number off of?
That was the same thing that I said too. Once we put in some proprietary, ground up cornflakes that we pour in there.
They're just more tubier, man.
Yeah.
And those numbers they add some relevance to the advantages of the product. But
I mean, it's beautiful marketing. And again, great company. I don't want to make it sound like I'm bashing on UltraView. I think they're great guys, great company. But it's just always cute whenever a new product comes out like that. And they have some tested metric that they throw out there that, again, what's your baseline? 13% better than what? Right. You didn't have a stabilizer before, correct? Am I wrong on that?
Correct.
Yeah. No, I'm correct. Okay, so you were comparing that to what?
Yeah, what or whose?
Yeah, but exactly. That's the other question is, did you line up every single stabilizer in the market and you just rounded off that 13% was, the stiffness better in all of them out there?
Yeah.
So
'cause you all better bet we might be testing that.
Yeah.
At least I would love to.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not UltraView specifically, but I know we've got other companies that we've looked at to test. So, I mean, it's just what you do in this industry, but it'll be interesting to see how much stiffer is stiffer.
It's just as important to know as much about other people's products as it is your own.
Yeah,
so
100%. That's how we better ourselves.
Yep.
And
100%. Okay,
so what's grinding your gears?
Nothing's grinding my gears right now. Because I am really excited. Here's a shiny thing that I want to talk about, and I didn't have a whole ton of involvement with this. It was mostly Hollywood and Rory. Maybe I should let him talk about it. But our brand spanking new Vapor Trail Aero Customizer. We just reviewed it yesterday, just to go over some things with it, make sure that all of the details are there that are necessary. And in my nitpicky way, I found a few things that I felt should get changed, probably splitting some hairs here and there. But I also think it's pretty important that we're accurately portraying the service that we can provide. And so I'm trying to see if I can bring it up here, but I don't know if I'm logged into the right account.
I'm guessing not by the looks of that.
I will say that, yes, there is a chance that I might be building people's arrows now. We will see. But, yeah, it's exciting. Right now, I mean, we're going to be dealing with Victory and Easton the most. And it's going to come with, let's see, we have wrap options, vane options from most of the big vane manufacturers that are, I mean, there's so many now. They're as bad as stabilizers. I mean, there's so many vanes. I didn't realize it till, it's just insane.
It's nuts.
So the main big guys, we do have obviously other knock options if you want different colors. I mean, it's all about customizability, being the most, biggest thing. So, and again, two big stereo lines.
Right now, what it looks like, we've got 9 different Victory arrow options, 5 Easton options, and then obviously different spines in all of those.
Yep.
You can have them cut to length. You can have us glue in your inserts, and you can choose either hot melt or 2-part epoxy. We've got 8 different wrap colors. And then I think with those colors, we're going to have a design, like a specific like Vapor Trail design option with that. I think that was it though, right? Just one design for now.
I thought that's what it was.
The wraps?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I left it out just because I didn't know if we wanted to throw that Easter egg in there. But the vanes, on those vanes, we'll have some VT branded ones.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
That's possible.
Coming soon.
Yeah. And then you have your choice between 3 Fletch, 4 Fletch. You've got AAE options, boning options, flex Fletch options, and vane colors we're running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 colors. Well,
There could be more to come because I know that thing's still under the works.
Yeah.
but
yeah, there's a few here, but because I don't see white. Well, there I see it. So several options in colors. You'll be able to pick your primary color, your secondary color. Vane angle will have right offset, left offset in several different degrees, and also helical left and right. You already talked about knock options. We're going to either we're going to offer spine alignment or indexing as an option. If you don't want to do that, you can just roll the dice.
look at that. Roll the dice.
It's a great phrase.
Oh, I need to get a drink of water here.
Have fun turning your knocks, boys.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not too bad, though. I mean, usually these days, as long as you're running the right setup, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But
3-point options, 75 grain, 100 grain, 125 grain, and then you've also got a lightning speed option to get them expedited out within a couple of days. I'm sure you're going to love that one, Hollywood, when you get those orders come.
glue wrapped around my head.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, you might even get some here come this summer. You know, you'll get an order 2-3 days before a TAC event or something.
Yeah.
Somebody's
Oh,
gonna need
guarantee
something
ya.
stat.
Well, I mean, last year being the first year that we opened that pro shop, we had, one guy just jump in here because, again, we're Vapor Trail. We can make strings. Jumps in here, and he's like, yeah, I'm leaving to New Mexico tomorrow morning. I'm like, and?
Yeah.
And I've been waiting 6 years for this elk tag. I'm like, and you need a string? I mean, so it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's TAC or the same dude.
Yep.
It's like, my God. You can't prevent, your string blowing up, but
Yeah.
you had months to prepare for your arrows, buddy.
Yep.
You know right now.
Be ready for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the arrow customizer, we're pretty excited about that. Rory's been working real hard on it, and it looks pretty good. So I'm
Does.
excited for that.
Excited for it.
Yeah. Excited and nervous. Nervous because let the fun begin.
Yep.
Rightfully so.
How many orders we going to get right out the bat?
Right on. Well, I think that hit it. I think we hit everything on there. We'll have to get to the next section that I had on the docket for next time
Yeah.
because it's getting to be
We've
that
talked
time.
way too much about how we can't kill birds.
Yeah.
Rick and I.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
Not Johnny. So
Johnny invented turkey hunting. He knows what he's doing.
Not quite that good.
didn't exist until then.
Yeah.
He might have had a role in making sure it wasn't the national bird, just so that we could hunt them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to go back to the double bull days where we started this conversation. Trust me, there's plenty of guys there that'll explain to you how I used to be real bad at this.
Oh.
So,
I thought it went way back to Ben Franklin, but
same time frame.
holy cow! Isn't it weird to say that you were born in the 1900s? Like, doesn't it just? I mean, I don't know. I hear somebody say, like, kids will say that, like, whatever, old man, you were born in the 1900s. I'm like, jeez.
And then I laugh at them and walk away.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I can drive.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
There you go. I just sweep the leg. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Anyway, all right. Well, hey, thanks everybody for joining us. If anybody has any questions or suggestions, interested in being a guest on the Range podcast, you can reach out to me on IG at ricky.wayne80 or shoot a message through Vapor Trail IG, Facebook, or YouTube. And, of course, you can always find Hollywood at
On the old Instagram, Jake Ivy 3, and Facebook, Jake Iverson with Hollywood in parentheses.
There you go. What about you, Johnny? Do you want anybody to be able to find you, or are you like Steve? It's a ghost.
Well, no, it ain't a ghost, but I honestly couldn't tell you what my screen name is. Pretty sure it's just my name. So
I think it's just
I don't know.
Betker
You want to
John.
find me? Look up John Betker. There you go.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
Definitely find him on Facebook with that,
yeah.
as far as I know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to pack up our bows and arrows, and we're going to leave the range. Have a good day, everybody.
See
Thank
y'all.
you.
See ya.
Vapor Trail is now offering an exclusive discount to the Range podcast listeners. Enter promo code TRP15, that's TRP15, at checkout for 15% off VTX bowstrings and Vapor Trail and Stokerized branded t-shirts, hats, and other gear.